Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
We are back again on Interview Stories and Tales with Chuck Podolak, the president of the Conserve and Protect Arizona, a C4 organization that's going to help protect Arizona sportsmen from having their traditions stomped out with opinionated emotions. So sit back, turn up the volume, and let's soak in this information he's going to give us. Now we are live. Live.
Are you sure?
I'm just.
I see it.
I'm pretty close to.
Up on my phone. It'll pop up. There it goes.
I'm pretty close
there
to.
It says it says you're live.
All this stuff I do on here is way over my head.
We've been doing this for over a year, and he's still learning how to do some of it.
I know.
The antis are coming. The antis are coming. There you go.
We got
Billiam
D. I don't know how to say his last name. Billiam D.
Billiam
D. Earring. Deering.
Call him Willie Dog.
Okay.
Earring.
Armanda Bisbee.
From,
William Deering.
Arminda. Missy Fix. Missy's here again. Hello, Missy.
Missy's always here.
Billiam is Artesia, New Mexico guy.
Junior Marriott.
Maybe we should give away something.
Cost River Ranch, West Siberian Lycas. Randy Riggs. Hey, Randy, how are you?
5 below zero. 5
Chile,
below
Colorado.
Zero from Chile.
Caveman.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Rich. Cool.
He's a California guy.
So we'll introduce everybody.
Well, maybe we should give something away if they can guess.
We can.
That guy is over there.
That guy up above me.
The guy without a beard.
The slicky. And then we got Benny over here, a.k.a. Tulip. And, of course, the famous Chris Watson in the upper corner.
Back in the day.
And I'm Brett.
Film years. Just plain old Brett. No one likes Brett.
No, I'm very frowned upon in the hound dog world.
Well, that's not true. You're more famous than I am because they talk about you all over the world.
They say bad things about me from what I hear.
Hey, Pat, bad publicity is still publicity.
My grandson saw you on a trail, and he's just like, hey, isn't that's that guy? That's that guy.
It's just
it's not that bad, Brett.
Well, there's a few that might like me a little bit.
Well, I didn't say he liked you. He was just excited.
That's that guy. If he liked you, he'd know your name.
That's that guy.
Well, what did we all do this week? Brett, what did you do? I'm going to start it off with you because you always ask. What did you do this week besides not put a video out, Brett?
You know, I had a what do they say? A bittersweet week. All my family was here.
Oh.
Both my daughters were here for Thanksgiving. My parents, my 90-year-old parents, were here for Thanksgiving. All my grandkids, 6 grandkids, and it was kind of a bad deal. The 26th was my birthday. I turned 63 years old. The 25th is my oldest sister's birthday, and she had passed away here several years ago. And my second oldest sister passed away the day before my birthday. So
this year.
Yes, and
like last week.
Yeah. It was kind of, she was in a care facility, so she wasn't in very good shape, and she hadn't been living a very good life. But still, it kind of put a cloud over Thanksgiving for all of us. But we ate good anyway, and of course I didn't get a video out. I went out and filmed one this morning. I put a camera out a month ago, a game camera, and I thought, man, I'm going to go out there and see what I got. And a really good place. I mean, really, a friend of mine had a camera there and had a big Tom go by one time. And I went out there, and I'll be dang, the dog started trailing right up that canyon. And I I get trashy like they do, so I was kind of suspecting it was a fox. But I let them trail, and I thought, well, they trailed right through that camera. I'll know what it is. And I don't take a reader with me. I just switch out cards. And I pulled that card, and I got home, and I had like 5,000 pictures of the shadows and the wind blowing back and forth. No pictures of nothing. It only lasted like 3 days. It filled up the card. I had it on video. I had it on video mode too. So there you go.
That's how I used to be before I got on YouTube. I was just a shadow and a figment.
I believe that.
There was thousands of pictures of him in the game. And
Hey, we don't
Big shadow.
we don't have Chuck's name up here. Let's see.
Well, that's because we were going to play Guess This Guy.
There we go.
Yeah, Chris
Now
was
you
going to do
just ruined
surprises.
everything.
Got it on there.
No prizes.
I was
now,
gonna
Chris.
make my way around, and then once he told us who he was, he could tell us how his week went, and it's been probably pretty busy. What'd you do this week, Benny? It better be a better story than a sad one. We need something to pep it.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a sad story because he has to work.
Oh.
Well, let's just start this out, Brett.
There goes our monetization.
Yeah, there it is.
Let's see. Last Saturday, a week ago, I went to Arizona. I had an appointment with a realtor Monday. We spent all Monday up in Peoples Valley, and I have to get my wife in a headlock because we do not see eye to eye on things. So she's gonna
imagine that.
She's not gonna be recognizable for a little while. Then Tuesday we left and we went to San Carlos, Sonora, Mexico, and stayed there for Thanksgiving and rented a house up on the cliffs overlooking the beach.
Wow.
Not the beach, it was just all solid rock. And every morning I realized why I don't need to work. I got my coffee in the dark and sat outside on the porch and watched the sun come up over the ocean. Peaceful.
What do they say? They say you can measure a man's freedom by the amount of things he can live without.
Well, it's a good thing I know how to speak Mexican. I was everybody's go-to guy. My wife and I and our daughter and her family were all down there. And and there was a guy there was a public beach, a sandy beach, and they use these wooden cable spools for tables. Somebody had put all this stuff out there in plastic chairs stacked up, and they had some steel framework and a whole pile of tarps. You could put tarps up there and get some shade. And so we were there Thursday, and everything was good. And then Friday we went, and somebody had put tarps in 3 in a row, and then it was windy on Friday, so they put a tarp on one end. Well, we just said, hey, this is pretty cool. We'll just go get under one. And this little Mexican guy came over there and said, se renta este por 300 pesos. And I said, what? Renta por 300 pesos. And I said, hey, guys, let's go. This guy thinks he's going to rent us this deal for 300 pesos. And they said, well, I thought this is public. I said, yeah. And so my son-in-law says, well, isn't there anybody here that could speak to him enough to find out what's going on? And my daughter says, yeah, Dad can. I said, I can speak to him good enough to get us in a fist fight because this is a bunch of bullshit. I said, he's just scamming Americans. So you guys want a fist fight or you want to move on? So we moved on.
You moved on.
But that was the excitement. I did stop in at a pharmacy and get a bunch of pills and medicines and stuff that is no longer legal in the U.S. So I'm caught up for a little while.
You can still buy Viagra here.
Yeah, but things are cheaper in Mexico.
No, that's get them a Pez dispenser.
Explain some of these pictures.
Well,
Here.
Which one I send you first?
Send me the school bus. What's that?
Oh, someone sent me that. It's kind of cool. A guy's on his way to pick up kids back in the 30s or 40s, shoots a deer and ties it on the front of his bus. That's what we need to get back to. Well, it's 60 down on the. It wasn't considered unsafe to. So 1963. The proud deer hunter is Wayne Rosell, who was school bus driver for the Chadwick R1 district for several years. His route was the 5-mile run east of town. He had been seeing deer each morning as he ran his route. It wasn't considered unsafe to have your deer gun on the bus in 1963. Before kids were picked up, he had killed this deer, gutted it, and stretched it across the hood of this bus. Millie Pierce loaned him the rope to tie it on. The kids were all excited to see that one of their favorite drivers got at this deer.
Can you imagine?
Figure out if the bus driver's a man or a woman.
Can you imagine having a gun on a school bus nowadays?
Oh, you know what? My son woke up this morning because we've been gone for 5 days, and he goes, "Dad, it's kind of hard. It's kind of me not to put a pocket knife in my pocket." I said, "Don't put a pocket knife in your pocket." Oh, look, the trapping houndsman. What is goodbye? You leaving?
Well, just to drive by.
Is that your buddy? Is that your buddy?
Yeah, it's Terry Metler who just starts a lot of crap and thinks there's and you don't know how to explain himself. So I'm just going to be nice right now and hopefully he just leaves. I don't know. He tries to talk crap about Dan Gates and the Sierra Club and how everybody's in something and how I delete him on stuff. It's ridiculous. Anyways, go to the next picture.
Okay, let me see if I lost it. Let me see if I can get it pulled. Something's going on here.
We're all blind leading the blind. He said we're the blind leading the blind.
Why does he not like us, I wonder?
I don't know. I don't care. Like, I try to be nice to people, but
I bet he was kicked off the tit at 3 days old.
Probably has some childhood trauma.
Maybe something. Yeah. I don't know.
That'd make me traumatized. Just
explain yourself. Just explain yourself. Don't get on there and try to blast me on Facebook. Just email me or message me and say, "Hey, did you delete that?" I don't even know what he's talking about.
Something you did, Chris.
Oh, yeah. I love you, trapping
husband. If he's looking for attention, he just got some. Let's move along.
That's all you get. I'm waiting for Brett.
Dang it, I can't get this thing. I got I'll get it. Hold on. So, introduce Chuck. Chris?
Yep, Chuck. So, this is what happened. Last Wednesday, I get an email from Colorado, a text, and it says, "This is what's happening." And then for the last 5 days, I've just been getting emails and texts and calls. I bet you I've been on the phone 4 hours a day, just people. Then I have news people calling me, wanting to do interviews. I'm like, so I called Dan Gates or text him, and I'm saying, "Hey, man, I don't know, like, what's going on? What should I do?" And he said, "Hey, Chuck is taking some stuff Chuck is taking the game warden just walked in here. The game warden just walked in here, guys.
Mind your manners, Benny.
Never mind. Anyways, what we were doing is hunting real legal along this river. So I just getting a bunch of questions, and Dan's like, "Hey, these guys reached out," which is the CPAZ, which is gosh dang it. I lost
Conserve and Protect Arizona.
Yes, Conserve and Protect Arizona. And they're like, "Chuck, how do you say your last name? Podolak?
Chuck Podolak. Yeah, Chris.
I remember it kind of because I have a game warden named Podol who's always after me. So everybody's dropping his number, and I've talked to Eddie Corona, and he same thing. You're going to talk to this guy. So now I can direct all my traffic over to Chuck.
Yep.
So he's gonna spearhead. He's I don't want to put big shoes on him, but he's kind of our Dan Gates of Arizona right now. But We're gonna use Colorado to get us through this because they've already been through it, so they know the do's and don'ts. So all you antis who are sneaking on here, Gates word versus this guy over here. So he's going to be like the spearhead. So if anything, I just sent him stuff. I think I sent him. I had Channel 12 News trying to do an interview, and I'm like, man, I don't want to say the wrong thing. So I'm like, I'll let Chuck say the wrong things. So that's kind of where we are there. So Chuck can kind of take it over and tell us what we need to do in life.
Tell us about yourself and how you got involved in this and everything.
Yeah, thanks, Brett, and thanks, Chris, for the invite. Chris and I have known each other since about this time last night, so we go back way, way far. So I'm not actually. So I'm Chuck Podolak. I'm not actually from Arizona. Grew up in Colorado and made my way down here through a variety of different jobs. First in '97, flying for the Air Force, did a couple of stints out at Luke Air Force Base, flying fighters for the Air Force.
Oh
Decided to get out of
wow.
that and into sort of politics, policy world. End up working in DC on Capitol Hill for a number of years for Jeff Flake, former senator from Arizona, and then made my way with my wife out to Phoenix since in about 2018. So I've only been full time in Arizona since about 2018,
Is it
after some
is
off
the
and on over the last 20 years.
is the Flake guy related to Reed Flake?
Go back far enough, I think they're all related.
Probably,
But
yeah,
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 the number of flakes running around,
yeah.
southern Utah, northern
Yeah.
Arizona, and
There you go.
I
western
got a bunch
Mexico
in
is yeah,
Snowflake.
Yeah, that's
Snowflake.
where
yep,
Reed Flake's from is
yeah,
Snowflake.
Mm-hmm.
yep, yeah.
And they're
So
all ropers.
yep. So done a bunch of politics work in that office, doing wildlife resources, public lands, water, energy kind of stuff. Popped around jobs here in the state of Arizona. Worked for previous governor Doug Ducey for a while, doing among other things all the game and fish work for the governor's office. Um, on the personal side, I hunt, but I have no dogs. Well, I got a little pet dog that doesn't do any good out there. Big game, small game. These days, it's mostly just getting around doing some small game stuff. Mostly here in Arizona, a little bit out in New Mexico, a little bit in Colorado. Um, the I was telling Chris, I've hunted bears not very well. Always been a little bit of jealousy, y'all, because I'm sitting here trying to glass up a bear and hear these guys with hounds going everywhere. So they're doing it right. So uh,
Ruining everything.
yeah. No, hey, there's room for all, but um, no. So through all that sort of politics background, just but personal life as a hunter, this opportunity came up. So Conserve and Protect Arizona. We are we've been around since the 2018 fight, or the 2017-2018 fight, or last time HSUS was in Arizona trying to ban lion hunting. We're successful in keeping that off the ballot in 2018, and then we all got busy with other stuff. We went about our lives, or they went about their lives. I wasn't here for that one, or I wasn't involved in that one. But Conserve and Protect still existed as an entity. We're a 501c4. We dusted it off, reconstituted it about a year and a half ago. Said we see the writing on the wall. We see what's going on in Colorado. We see what's going on in the other western states. We know Arizona's a fertile ground for that. We know Arizona's vulnerable to that same kind of shenanigans from the anti-hunting crew. So we said, rather than be reactive, rather than saying, well, something's here, now let's react to it, let's build that infrastructure in advance. We didn't want to build that political infrastructure within any one wildlife group. So we didn't say, well, predator callers, houndsmen. We didn't say, the wild turkey or anyone else will take that on. We said, let's create this. Let's use this own very politically focused group. So we've got Conserve and Protect is actually three organizations. We're a 501c3, we're a 501c4, and we have a PAC. So that gives us a lot of flexibility. It's a little bit complex to run those, to keep them all legally straight, financially straight, but we got a good lawyer that helps us do that. It gives us a lot of flexibility, though, as we saw in the Colorado fight, to do the political things with your political money, and to the education things with your nonprofit. We we built the board, so we got a board of 12, right? Crash is nailing. We got a board of 12 that has some of the usual suspects in the Arizona hunting world that have been around the policy, the commission for a while. It also has some folks that share my background in the more political world. So we have folks on the board. Eddie Corona's on the board as well. Other folks on our board are veterans of elected, have run campaigns for elected officials, have run ballot initiatives, have run state level, federal level races, have worked like I did in elected office. So we bring a little bit different lens than, your, Wild Turkey Federation or something like that does. A lot of overlap with those groups, but that's what we see our role. So we see our role as being the entity, the group on the sportsman team that that's suited for these political fights. That's has experienced political fundraising, that has experience, um, again, talking to media, going on, running these kind of things. So, you know, I think we all assumed that something would come to Arizona at some point. I We were prepping that, we might have to have an election fight, a ballot fight in 2026. I don't know if that's where the CBD petition's going, but that would be the playbook. I mean, I think we saw that in Colorado, right? We saw, sorry, the commission fail, sorry, the legislature fail, try the legislature fail, and then go to the ballot. So what we see this is potentially leading to that fight that we're built here to have.
And that won't
But I
happen
don't
till
want to. I'm
2000.
just kind of rolling there.
That
Yeah.
won't happen till
Go ahead.
2026.
Well, so the next time we'll have ballots in a general election will be 2026.
20.
I think this could be all set, and we can get into the petition. We can get into what's actually going to happen at the commission here in a bit. You know, we could see them lose at the commission in another month or two. I could see them trying to pull a fast one down at the Arizona legislature, maybe even this spring. You sort of start checking those boxes, say like, "Yep, we tried that. Yep, we tried that," and that timing sets up pretty nicely for them to try something on a ballot in 2026. Get about a year run up for that. So that's what we're looking at. That's what we're sort of built around. So I mean, I can just sort of take all the time here. We can go some
Is
questions. I don't know
there?
if
I
we
mean,
want to
is
talk
there
about the
any?
actual.
What's the group that's behind this?
Yeah, so it's always hard to say what's actually behind. I will say the sort of the leader of this. Well, let's talk about what this is, Brett. Right. So what this is, the thing we have in front of us is a petition to the Arizona Game and Fish Commission to change a rule. Um, I think that might be just the tip of the spear in what this is, something much bigger, right? This is an effort to go after hound hunting, use of dogs more generally, erosion of science-based decision making by the in Arizona wildlife management. Um, there are certain entities that signed this petition. Um, Center for Biological Diversity is sort of the headliner. Mountain Lion Foundation, Sierra Club, Wild Earth Guardians, Lobos of the Southwest, and Wildlife for All were the ones that formally petitioned that. Now, who else is behind it? Who else is funding it? Who knows? But at least those are the sort of the extreme activist groups that stood up and put their name on this thing.
Chuck,
Okay.
I think what a lot of people don't realize too in this political warfare by these groups, like the Center for the Biological Diversity, they actually file suit.
Yes.
Like they'll
Yep.
they'll be filing. They filed a suit, and they also what people don't realize about all of these groups is they are reimbursed by the U.S. federal government for every one of their lawyers and court costs. So this is an uphill battle for all of
How
us.
does that happen?
And
I mean, how does that happen?
by bullshit, but it happens. I can't tell you, Brett. I mean, Brett, it's been going on for 30 or 40 years now. When they would file lawsuits against the Forest Service to get things shut down, the Forest Service reimbursed them for their money. It's like you guys be the front man and you bring the fight, and we'll just cave in, but we'll pay you to do it. And that's through the crooked politics and everything else, they get reimbursed for their legal fees. So this is a bigger fight than people realize on the front. And if it goes to a ballot initiative, then Arizona has a chance. I believe if it doesn't go to a ballot initiative, Arizona is screwed. Is that accurate, Chuck, in your view?
Well, so let's there's a couple things there, Ben. Let me jump on that. So you are absolutely right. Center for Biological Diversity, or CBD, is probably best known for its litigation. Sierra Club Grand Canyon chapter, I think, is probably most active in the Arizona legislature. They work really hard in getting legislators elected and in making their um, sort of at state government level. Wildlife for All is another one of the signatories to this. They were, that's a group, national group that's pushing to undermine the management of um, ref- they would say reform. I would say tear up or destroy game and fish commissions to destroy the North American model of wildlife management. So within that sort of this unholy coalition we've got, there's a bunch of different sort of tactics and specialties. As far as what with the current makeup, I don't think this petition has a chance at the commission. I don't think we have five. I don't think we have five commissioners or three commissioners or even one commissioner who would be inclined to vote for this thing. The idea of just with a swipe of a pen removing dogs from a tool of hunting is just something that I can't see any of these commissioners getting behind. Could you do it at the Arizona legislature? I don't think so. Um, I think um, despite all the predictions pre-election, the Republicans grew their uh, majorities in both in the Arizona legislature. I don't know that you have the votes there to get in. That this legislature has been relatively deferential to how we manage wildlife. Um, and I think Colorado's shown that in this environment you can win at the ballot. Um, so I think I'm optimistic. I think we have wins, we have good wins at our back on this, but there's a chance all that goes to shit, and I mean we do need to fight harder. But um, I, I think we need to stand up. I think we need to show at the commission that we as hunters are watching, that it's not just houndsmen watching this, and Chris has heard me preach on this. This is about hunting. This is about wildlife management. This isn't about dogs. Um, they say this doesn't affect bird dogs, but I think we need to have the bird hunters there. They say this is just about dogs, but I think we need to have those of us who don't use dogs to hunt there. Um, Showing that we can rally, showing that if you want to take it past the commission to legislature or the ballot, that we're ready. We can engage, we can fundraise, we can beat you at the commission, we can beat you at the legislature, we can beat you at the ballot. But I think a strong showing at the commission this week, a strong showing when they probably consider the rule in January, um, is our opportunity to show that as a community.
And
I
not
think if
only
you're
in person at the commission up there, the main building, but all the regional offices. If you have a good showing there where people show up to watch it or just show up, to speak, that goes a long ways too. So if you live in an area where there is a regional office, go over there because you can watch it there. Am I correct?
Yeah. So you can watch it anywhere. So it's live stream.
Yeah.
So if you just have an internet connection, you can watch it. The remote participation. So if you want to speak, the first item on the agenda at the commission when it starts at 8 a.m. will be a call to the public. If there's an opportunity for anyone in the public to speak on something that's not on the agenda. And to be clear, this petition is not on the December 6th agenda. It likely will be on a January or later agenda. But at that call to the public, there's an opportunity for anyone this meeting is at the Game and Fish Department headquarters down there at Ben Avery in North Phoenix. But anyone at any of the remote offices can also speak to the commission through. If you're in Yuma, you're in Pine Top, if you get yourself down to Tucson, up to Flagstaff, Kingman, uh, the offices there will be open and they'll have everything set up so you can speak. It doesn't have to be long, right? You have to get up there and give a 10-minute speech, 30 seconds of, hey, I'm here. I care about this. This is a horrible idea to undermine all the good work you guys have been doing to manage our wildlife. When this thing comes up to you, please vote it down. I think that's it.
It's good enough.
You just hear, yeah, because they're going to hear all these emotional appeals. You're going to have all these rabid, extreme activists on the other side making their pitches. And so just having that balance with some just level-headed, good hunters.
It
to
goes a
say,
long
"Don't do
ways."
this." Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think too that this next two commission meetings are extremely important just to make a show. You don't have to say anything. You just be there, and if the building's full, they'll know, hey, this is important.
Yep.
And I also believe that other people, Brett, I was told that you should be there,
Me?
and
I was told that
said,
too, actually.
and they said Brett has such a huge following and a huge influence over a broader band of people that just your presence there would bring another light onto this, shine a brighter light from other angles. I think that I think that Mike Root would be a perfect one to go to one of these and speak, because I went to every commission meeting for I don't know how many years, and Mike Root was there.
Hey,
And he's
get up
very
and talk
well
too.
and he's very well educated and very well spoken. And all of us from other places could go and just say, hey, you don't have to tell them bleed your heart out or anything. Just say, hey, I'm Benny Griffin. I live in New Mexico, but I'm here to say I support the Arizona hunters. And we are all going to come together and rally behind each other, just like we did in Colorado. And this matters to each and every one of us.
And science-based
Benny, I think
wildlife
that
management.
story that
Well,
sorry.
here's a real quick. Elizabeth brought this up to me, and honestly, if you just went up, and this is my opinion, you went up there and quoted their last little line in their little news media release. It says the changes will not apply to the use. I'll read the whole paragraph. The proposed changes will only restrict the use of dogs in recreational hunts for large mammals. The changes would not apply to the use of dogs for bird hunting or managing depredation through permitted hunts, which we'll break that down. Preserving Arizona, this is the important part, preserving Arizona's wildlife management, keyword, and traditional hunting practices. Dogs have been around for how long? Thousands of years. Is that not as traditional as you can get as a hunting practice? So let's break that down. You know, the changes will not apply to use of dogs for birds. So they don't want the bird dogs. I've already been texted by bird dog guys, and they said they're going. Or managing depredation through permitted hunts. We manage depredation every time we buy a tag. Am I correct? For bear, lion, hunting license, and that's a permitted hunt. So they're kind of hypocritical, I believe, in their saying, oh, don't use dogs, but let's go traditional practices. So if you just get up there and say, hey, I get these guys. Yeah, we want to, preserve Arizona wildlife, manage it through and traditional hunting practices, and I traditionally hunt my dogs.
But
I mean,
is when they say depredation permits, that's basically what they do in California, isn't it? They have paid hunters, paid houndsmen that will come out and, if they have a nuisance animal or a problem with a lion or something somewhere, then, because I know some guys who had done it and they have to, matter of fact, they have to be kind of quiet about it.
I think that's exactly what that means. They're okay with the Colorado model or the California model, which is they're okay with people killing lions. They're just not okay with you killing lions.
Yeah, it's got to be
They want
paid
to
by
pay
the
someone
government.
Who's
they're
not
okay
going to
with
take
the
that?
quietness.
Who's not going to take that? Yeah, it's crazy.
Ridiculous.
It's all right if it happens. We don't want to hear about it.
Instead of
Well,
following,
I think that brings.
Go ahead,
I
Benny.
think, Chris, that brings up another point that there's too many people on social media that are shooting their own foot and cutting their own throat. And the problem is, we walk in those same footsteps and we have to breathe that same air with all that blood out of that throat. People can't just keep their damn mouth shut. They got to brag. They've got to put the gory details. They got to do this and that. And to show a successful hunt is one thing, but to show how it takes place is something completely different.
Yeah.
I made a video and
Ben,
killed
I think
2
you're
bears.
right, but
And I didn't show the bear falling out of a tree or the bloody bear drag. There's plenty of ways to do it. And that's a big argument. That's a huge argument when you get on social media and you say, don't post that. The first thing those guys say is First Amendment. It's my First Amendment, freedom of speech. Well, yeah, but you can run around and cuss and say, oh, you can flip off a cop too, but that shows your character as well.
Having cranial rectitis it's not something to brag on. You got to run around with your head up your butt. People can't understand you anyway.
Well, it doesn't represent what we do correctly when all they show is and don't get me wrong, I like to see it. Because I know what it took to get to that tree. But for the general public who doesn't know, all they see is a poor lion or bear in a tree and falling out by some guy, and then a bunch of hooting and hollering, everybody all happy, and but they miss the biggest part of the hunt. It's getting there. And
as long as that's out there, it gets taken out of context, and I think that's what we saw in Colorado. So I would say more than half of the Pro 127 material was generated by us. Right? They went and they took our ads, they took our Facebook, they took our social media, they took things that we generated and flipped it out of context back on us. Mm-hmm. That sucks when you make when the opposition's taking our
exactly.
Let's go to the flipping out of context, because this is another thing they do is they take numbers and they manipulate it They manipulate it. Okay, let's just go to this paragraph in their little release. According to the Arizona Game and Fish data, 748. Remember that number. Mountain lions and 323 bears were reported killed by hunters using packs of dogs between 20 and 23. That's 4 years. So you take that number 750, that's 4 years. And then they say a 2020 study estimated we had 1,100 to 1,700. So you see that number of 750, and this is not us. This ain't us. This is people that we talk to. This is people who grocery shop and people who don't hunt. They see that big 750 and then they see that, average of 1,500. It looks like we killed half of the lions and bears, but they took a 4-year harvest rate and took a 1-year study rate. So it don't look good because it looks like they don't say how many were born or how many's killed or how many's, that's a 2020 study with a 2020-23 4-year harvest rate.
It's not accurate.
And it's really not that much if you divide 750 by 4. It's not even 200 a year.
And
so
Chris,
they manipulate those numbers.
I think that was some of what the Colorado guys found is we can spend all day defending predator hunting or use of hounds to the general public. And we're not going to make nearly as much headway as talking about the science, right? What you hit is, yes, that may be the total number. Those may be accurate numbers for the total amount of take over that period. But that, rather than saying, well, but dogs are traditional, we say that was a number that was determined by science. We have these professional biologists who go out and measure populations and they do studies and they understand these animals very, very well. And they put a limit. And in fact, when we're talking about hunting bears and lions, we manage to the animal, right? This isn't quail. This isn't over-the-counter archery deer. This is every single harvest reported. And I think when you tell that to your neighbor or the person at the grocery store, oh yeah, they don't have to. Yeah, they don't have to get good with blood or a dog. All they have to do is man, we got pros. Let's leave it to the scientists. This is great. I don't understand it, but those smart guys do. Let them have it.
Yeah, the quote
But science is a bad word to those guys. It's a bad word to the antis. Well, they want to talk about science.
Yeah, but we win. But we win. When we talk about science, we win at the commission. When we talk about science, we win with legislators. When we talk about science, we win with the general public in election years. That was the message that got votes in Boulder and Denver outside of hunters. That got votes on the Front Range of saying trust the science, trust the biologists, trust the professionals. That was, from what I understand of that campaign, that's
what made the difference.
That
was really what carried the day. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just, and I think my point too is it's not the hunters we have to convince. And you're right. The commissioners, they talk to the biologists. They're all part of that group. They know what's going on. Yep. They don't even release what's going on half the time because they don't want the public to misconstrue it. So that biologist can't come on here and say, 1,700. No, we got 3,500 lions, or we got, and those 700 are killed by hounds. Is that 750 killed by hounds? Or are they throwing in depredation numbers? Are they throwing in car accident numbers? Are they throwing in total lion harvest numbers? You know what I mean?
Well, and who are they talking to, right? You point that out. That's a good point, Chris, that when they use misleading statistics, they're not trying to mislead the commission. They're not going to pull one over on the department. This is there to fool the general public, right? This is a general public argument. This isn't a document in my mind that's written to persuade biologists and wildlife management professionals. This is a document that's meant to persuade the general public.
The person walking in to the library, they're sitting in front of the person walking into the supermarket. And that's what I've kind of brought up lately and that's the whole emotions are trying to murder our traditions. And it's not the hunter, it's the hunter's neighbor. It's the hunter's mailman. It's the hunter's grocery store person or, his community around him that lives a hunter that lives in a community, a suburb. Let's just take Phoenix. If you take 100 houses in his circle, how many hunters are in that 100 house circle? You know what I mean? It ain't 75%. I could probably guarantee you that. Where my brother lives, I doubt it's that many in that area. I would like to see a number. I would like to someone go take 10 houses. There are 5 neighbors on this side, 5 neighbors on this side, and say, do you hunt? Do you hunt? Do you hunt? And I'd like to see
Well,
out of the 10
I can do
houses.
that for you, Chris. So I live in a pretty decent part of downtown Phoenix. Um, there's probably what 20, 25, 30 houses on our block. I know most of the
Mhm.
neighbors. I think I'm probably the only one in this neighborhood on this street that hunts.
So it's
But
important for
but I
you to
think
educate, right?
100%, right? You're out walking the
Not
dog.
your
Hey, what are you
buddy.
doing this weekend? I was going out
Yeah.
quail hunting. Oh yeah, I didn't know you did that. That was really well. My cousin used to, and you find. I mean, people are like one or two connected, right? When you talk about hunting, so
Hmm.
it's like, oh yeah, my brother's going out and doing that. Oh yeah, my dad did that. Like people just have to be reminded, right? Like key in. There's even in the rural, even in the urban area of Phoenix, there's a lot of support for it. It's just not people not doing it themselves. But we're
Yeah.
not that far, right? You just mention it. People don't like, oh, that's disgusting, like kill it. They're like, oh yeah, yeah. I love venison. I used to, my uncle used to bring summer sausage. It was my favorite thing. Like people are connected to it. We can win this. We had a head start on this thing.
I get a lot of the same response from my videos where
Mhm.
people, they don't know anything about hunting with hounds. But then they see, how I interact with my dogs and what we do. And they say, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
I call them, they come to me, they load in the box, they're all wagging their tails, they're all happy. We're all out there doing something together, and it's not this bloodthirsty screaming dogs you dump out of a box and just run through the woods causing havoc. But there's so many people who they have no clue. And
Yep.
Their only information is social media. And when you
what
take,
the
yeah,
antis put up.
even my videos when I do bear hunt, I did my first video a couple videos ago. I treat a bear and I let it go. I mean, you can see it coming out of the tree. I let it go. No one knew that that's the first bear I caught in 5 days. It's a 20, 30-minute video. In the old days, you remember the old Elgatos and all those, and it was 20 people, 20 catches of a lion in an hour or two video. You don't just open the tailgate, and this is what they need to know, because they in their media release, and this is the point you're going to make, is we're tracking, and they make it sound like we're tracking with GPS collars the lions. They're catching those lions with GPS collars. That's a wordplay. We know it as hunters, but that's a wordplay. No, we're not. We're tracking our dogs because those people's fat, overweight dogs that never leave the couch. They don't have to worry about that. And then the wordplay again is injured dogs. I've had one dog since 2010 get injured by a bear. One. I'm lucky. I'm not saying it don't happen, but it's no different than your fat dog. You open the door and it runs out and gets hit by a car. What are you going to do then? Outlaw cars? You know what I mean?
Well,
Another wordplay with this, and people need to saturate with information, is the word jaguar and ocelot. You show me a pack of dogs that could probably kill a jaguar, then you probably got one hell of a mean set of dogs. Am I wrong or right? We've talked to jaguar hunters. We've talked to people.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
It is not going to happen. Those jaguars are nothing to mess with. I don't think you could have 20 dogs on a jaguar and they do any damage to it. And ocelots, we've had a few reports in Arizona. They're already illegal to kill. Jaguars are illegal to kill. I didn't see they brought up the Canada lynx this time, which is not even present in the state of Arizona. They bring this stuff up, and it's the wordplay, and that's what your neighbor needs to know. Listen, jaguar, there's nothing that's going to kill a jaguar. Ocelot, the guy treed one in Fort Huachuca a few years back, long while. But I talked to a guy who was in Mexico that caught ocelots, and he says the actual terrain they live in is about the worst you'll ever see in your whole entire life. It's ridiculous. So to get one in Arizona is kind of a rare thing, and you will get them, but it's wordplay. It's those key words that get that lady that's never been hunted or never hunted that says, that's sad. That poor little cute ocelot or that little jaguar. And we only have a few in Arizona, and they're making a big comeback. No, they're not. We got a couple that roam in from Mexico, So again, it's the wordplay. And when you read that and you're not a hunter and you have no idea about what's going on, it really looks good to a city person that's never been outdoors. But most of your people, like you said, I say, you don't hunt? Man, I used to hunt as a kid.
Yeah.
Take them hunting. If they say they used to do it, take them. Try to get them to go. Don't even let them just say, come along with us. Just come along, you know. And most of the time, like you said, it strikes that little conversation up. It brings back a memory, and that's just another good vote for you.
Yeah. It's something.
You have to play their game, right?
Yeah.
You have to wordplay. You have to get their memories back up about hunting with Grandpappy. You know, oh, he used to take me bird hunting. Oh, man, I remember when he had a deer tied to his truck. You know, people get busy and they have a life, and they don't get to hunt no more. And they love to hear your stories. They love to see your pictures on your phone. I've showed so many pictures of people I haven't hunted in 30 years, and I say, come on with me, you know. Invite them along. Take that time. That's the crucial point is take a day. Don't worry about killing anything and go. That news reporter that I sent you,
Yeah.
I said, talk your bosses into coming up and we'll do a non-lethal little hunt, little chase. I'll show you how it works, you know?
Yeah, she's going to pitch a story, and if they take it, we'll do an interview tomorrow, and it'd be great if I could offer her that to, yeah.
Yep. Well, send it to Brett Vaughn. He never catches nothing.
No. I just take my I just yeah, guaranteed non-lethal. I just take my dogs for a walk.
Catch Fat Lori. Yeah, you can catch Fat Lori.
Fat Lori, she's a sensation. Everybody loves Fat Lori, and she's a worthless hound.
I think in Arizona right now, I'll talk to all these hunters. Don't post stupid crap. It's okay to post stuff. Post it respectfully. You know what I mean? Take a person, your neighbor out. You know, invite them over the Colorado thing. Didn't they have that big chili cook-off or that big cook-off, and they fed everybody mountain lion? Everybody's like, wow. Because people, they're uneducated. You know, they're uneducated to the fact of what really goes on. And the first thing they hear walking into a grocery store or the Chamber of Commerce is somebody that comes up and says, they're murdering these poor, look at this beautiful, and they got the best picture of a lion. You know, Jared just sent me a picture of a dead lion that another lion killed, you know. So,
I found a couple of those.
Yeah. So it happens. I got that picture. I sent it to you. So, I mean, that's nature. So some of those kills that they're reporting ain't just a dog going out there and letting your tailgate down and come along for these hunts. You know, you might get lucky and do a 30-minute run, but you might get lucky not, or unlucky and not do a run, you know.
Well, then if the population goes, you know, gets too big, I mean, it's like there's nobody hunts down here where I am. Most people are smarter than that. And the two lions I've caught in the last 2 years, I guess, they were starving to death. I mean, they were poor, and the one had come in and killed a lady's dog, you know.
In front of her. Yeah,
in front of her. She was throwing rocks at it. She was throwing rocks at it and couldn't get it to leave, and it drugged the dog off and ate it. But yeah, and then the old female down there, I mean, she was old. I mean, she didn't have hardly any teeth left in her head. And
is that the lion or the woman that owned the dog?
the lady who owned the dog, she was pretty healthy.
She was healthy enough to try to fight a lion.
Yeah, she was out there trying to protect her little dog. That's for sure.
I just want to make sure that everything is understood correctly, Brett.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes crazy,
Benny. I like your role on this show, Benny.
He keeps us all straight.
That's why he's here. But education, the saturation of education, share is pretty important. Yep. You know, talking to your neighbors is important. But if that lion, you know, what's crazy about someone who really is emotional about the big cats, is if that lion would have attacked that elderly lady and either wounded or killed her, their first comment is, "You're in their country."
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
We're all in their country. In the middle of Phoenix, that was their country. San Diego used to be their country too. You know, Denver used to be their country. We're all in their country.
It's crazy.
You know, traditionally, if you want to go back years and years.
So
Here's the biggest question, too, Chuck. See if you can answer this, because a lot of people
Yeah.
think this is easy. And I think, is Dustin still with you guys, Hofflinger?
Yes. Yep.
That
Yeah, he's on our
guy,
board.
he's the guy back in the day who used to go. Did he not go to those where they were? I think he's got the police called on him 100 times, where he'd go stand next to those benches and dispute the antis. When they passed out those flyers, he was the one that was telling everybody this is false information.
see, I'd do better at that job than I would probably speaking in front of a commission.
Hey,
We
Brett
all
can
have our
go
role,
just to
right?
show up, but we don't want
Yeah.
Brett to talk. But here's the question that everybody asks. Why don't we just make it a right to hunt state? Okay, that's possible, but who's going to donate $100 a month? Is everybody that hunts in Arizona? Because that costs money. That costs a lot of money, and that takes a lot of lobbying. Am I correct? It's a bigger
Yeah.
chore than just saying, hey, the commission has the right. It can be done. Can it not be done?
So it can be done, and there's an effort. I think most recently we saw in Florida the effort to pass a constitutional amendment guaranteeing the right to hunt and fish. It is. I've looked at that. I've talked to a lot of smart lawyers. It's better than nothing, but it doesn't solve all our problems. And you're right. It's very expensive to do. Um, it creates like a first line of defense, but a smart adversary will figure out ways around that. Right? It's always subject to reasonable regulation.
Interpretation. Yeah.
It's all and for example, in Florida, you need, let's say you have an anti-hunting ballot measure, right? To get it put into statute, like in Colorado, you had to have a simple majority. But in Florida, if you want to change the Constitution, you have a higher threshold. Well, it's not like that in Arizona, right? So if you have, let's say that you could get the votes to get something in the Constitution, someone else can come in with that same number of votes and change it, right? So it's not a permanent forever thing. Um, I think there's ways where you could get around a constitutional right to hunt and fish by, you know, stacking a commission, tweaking the commission, getting them to make some decisions about method of take, season lengths. So
That's
yeah, all else being equal, would I like to have it? Sure. Is it worth what it would cost to put that in? Is it? I don't know. If I had unlimited
Let's
money,
go.
sure, but
Let's
this
go back a
point's
little
not
bit.
my priority.
Let's rewind that where you said
Yeah.
stack the commission, because let's just say it is. We can't do a ballot initiative no more. And then all of a sudden they start getting people to come in on the commission. Somebody who's, we'll Trojan horse it. We'll call it a Trojan horse it.
Mhm.
And they get a couple guys in there. Next thing you know, hound hunting's gone. And then,
Well, yeah. What have we seen in
so
Washington?
the
What have we
commission
seen in
can say,
Colorado?
all right, we're not
Yep.
using hounds. So,
Yep. I mean, we've seen bad commission appointments in some of these Western states, and we've seen what in Vermont, we saw Kentucky, I think Kansas, legislative efforts to change the commission, to tweak it, to undermine it, to move to a different department, to take away its independence. Um, I don't know that any of those structural changes on a commission that would undermine the commission would be impacted by a right to hunt and fish constitutional amendment. Sure, you still have your right to hunt and fish. We're just changing the entity that regulates it. We're just putting more commissioners on. We're putting a wider range of commissioners on. Yes, it's better than nothing, but it's not the magic bullet. I think
it
some
doesn't
people
stop
think
it
is.
altogether. So is there any way
Correct.
to bomb proof it?
No. I think it's stuff like this, right? It's everything that we just talked. I mean, what can we do in the very near future? We can get to the commission meeting and make statements in December. What can we do in the kind of near future? We can get to the commission in January and make statements about it. But you've hit on us, right? What are the things that we can do to stay vigilant? The whole guard the gate mentality, right? We can
Mm-hmm.
watch our social media and how we clean things up. We can talk to our neighbors. We can make sure we're portraying this thing we love in the best light. We can get people out there. We can share our food. We can share our experiences. I think it's that, right? We all we all read the same polls. These national polls done every year have shown consistently mid to high, like high 70, low 80% acceptance of well-regulated hunting and fishing by people throughout the United States. Generally, people like what we do. It's just you get these twisted things, you get this misleading things, you get emotion, and it pulls that off. But we've got a really good head start with the support that we enjoy. Sorry, I got a little soapbox there, but yeah, Chris, I think there's a lot that we already talked about here today.
The game commissioners are appointed, right?
In Arizona, they are. Yes. So they are, you apply to be a commissioner. The people that are the eligible applicants go to what we call the Commission Advisory Review Board, a group of stakeholders, including heavy representatives from the hunting and fishing community, who interview them, and they forward on recommendations to the governor, and the governor has to pick from that list. So ultimately, it's the governor's decision, but he's constrained by what passes that review committee. So he doesn't have full reign, more like you do in, say, Colorado.
But to have a good governor is a good thing, unlike Colorado, who had a governor who had a husband who hated hunting. So I'm sure there was a little bit of strain on his decision making.
Yeah, and I don't certainly going from a decades of Republican governors to going to a Democrat governor has caused a lot of chaos in Arizona state politics. So I'll say one thing that has not been chaotic is the Arizona Game and Fish Commission. Whatever you think of Katie Hobbs has made some fantastic appointments, including reappointing some Ducey appointees to Arizona Game and Fish Commission. So we are definitely not in Colorado, and I think despite having partisan changeover, we really have a well stacked professional game and fish commission right now.
Yes, and we really kind of have a good legislature. It's not a very weak one. I'll say it's a very tolerable color of legislature.
I would say for hunting and fishing, yes. I've spent a lot of time down at the legislature, and there's some colorful stuff down there. But yes, when it comes to hunting and fishing, I think this legislature has been very deferential. I think there have been some weird animal rights stuff, but they've been very deferential. I think both the hunting and fishing community as well as the agricultural community understanding following the science, not emotion when it comes to our issues.
And I can tell you what people are hearing right now when you say all this. And there's going to be some, they're going to say, oh, well, if we're going to win, if you're not worried about the commission, I don't need to go. If you're not worried about, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
No matter how red or how, if every person's a hunter on every part of our side, you still have to show up. And that's what people don't understand is if those 5 commissioners look out in that room and he sees 6 or 7 antis and a room that has to stand in the hallways full of hunters, they know they're going to have a problem. And the antis know they're going to have a problem. Because let me tell you a story about 2018. We were sitting in Taco Bell after the meeting. The guy for Jesus, the little kid, he looks like he's 12, has glasses. I don't know him. He came in, and there was 6 or 7 of us sitting around, even a biologist. And we're all laughing and joking. I felt bad for the kid. He walks in, and no one noticed him. I noticed him come in and go to the counter. And then they all start laughing and stuff, and I could tell he got nervous. And I was going to go buy him lunch. I wanted to go sit down and talk to him. But he got so nervous because we were all laughing over there. No one even noticed he was there. But he was around a bunch of people that weren't on his side, and he left. He just turned around and left. I felt bad for the kid. You know, he's there just doing what he believes, how he's raised, however. But I want to know how.
See, that's where you and I differ.
You got to find out your enemy.
I wouldn't feel bad for him at all. I would just think he's a stupid idiot.
He might just be misled.
Sorry.
One hunt.
Chris,
one hunt
do
could
think
change
there's a lot
that
of
kid's mind.
I appreciate your optimism, Chris, because I think I agree. I think there are certainly some bad actors on the anti-hunting thing. I think it's about people in control. But I think the vast majority of the people that support those love animals in the same way we do. They've misled, they're misinformed. They think the things they're advocating for are the best way to help animals, which they're not. But I think most of us in this fight come at it from a passion for the wildlife and the animals. I think we're right. We're doing the best thing for them. They're doing it misleading, but I think at the core, it probably comes from a good place. But yeah,
No, I think it
Well,
comes
even if
from ignorance.
this is why we don't let Brett
Well, but-
talk at the
yeah.
commission meeting.
No, I'm sorry. I can't. I mean, I can't.
He does, Brett.
You
You
talk
think
about a
Brett's
guy.
listener?
no.
You talk
On
about a
this
guy
side,
who's
like
coming in there
they're-
and he's being vocal and fighting and trying to take something away from me.
Mhm.
And he doesn't know any better, I guess, or I don't think
But why?
somebody who's going to be in charge of, well, if he's in charge of it, you're not going to change his mind. He ain't going to say, "Oh, well, wow, you're right. I was wrong. I quit." That ain't going to happen.
You never.
Not saying I would
never
say anything
know.
mean to him, but I would just ignore him.
I just want to know why he thinks that way. You know, we sit around and say, "How does somebody vote for Kamala? How? How can you be that?" But you think those guys sit around and say, "Yeah, we're pretty stupid." No, they think, "How could they vote for a cult leader like Trump?" You know, everybody has their idea, and I've been questioned about videos, and I made a comment about a video on a Facebook, and he said, "Well, your video, you chased a cub for 4 miles." My cub is 100 pounds. That's what I consider a cub. So I said, my video won't take a non-hunter, like the video with somebody shooting a bear, hitting every branch, bouncing, and you running up and killing it. You know, there's no harvest that's going to save you in that situation. That will take a non-hunter and turn him into a non-dog hunter. He may not care about other hunting, but he'll see that right there. And that video will make a non-hunter an anti-hunter before my video chasing a bear and letting them go make a non-hunter an anti-hunter. He'll make a non-hunter just stay a non-hunter. May not make him a hunter, but we don't want them to become hunters. We want them to be a very neutral and look at both sides of it. But to turn him into an anti-hunter because for some reason, I mean, I ran a bear one time, and they ran through a guy's camp, and one of my dogs ran through his Dutch oven and stepped on his biscuits. Dude, I felt bad. I'm like, "Hey, I'll buy you another Dutch oven. I'll come make you some biscuits from scratch. You know, I'm sorry. You know, it's just how it was. You're camped in there, and that bear was right by you. You know, that bear could have very well came in your camp and ate your biscuits anyways. You know, I don't think it turned him into an anti-hunter, but it might irritated him. You know, so it's those little situations. Those first impressions are very important. And if you open a Facebook page and for some reason that pops up and they see that bear hitting every branch, that first impression is going to be stuck with them. Yeah, you just got to be careful. Come on, guys. Just don't, you know. And if I post a video that you think's going to do that, email me up. Tell me I'm a brainwashed idiot myself. Brett tells me that every day, if not every other day.
Chris, you asked a question a few minutes ago about motivation and getting people out, and I think we could spin this another way. We could lie. We could tell people, "Oh my God, this guy's falling. You better get there. And if you don't get there, the commission's going to vote this in," and sort of trick you into engaging. I just don't. This is too much of a long-term fight to lie to ourselves, right? If you don't show up on Friday, will the commission vote this rule in? Probably not. But if you don't show up what we can do, it's cheaper and easier to kill bad ideas early. Do you want to sit on your heels until September of 2026 and then have to go work your ass off for a month and raise money to kill a ballot initiative? Or do you want to
Cross your
get
fingers.
out there early? Yeah.
Mhm.
I think this is rather than defeating a ballot initiative, we can deter it, right? It's always easier to do that up front. And I think that's what we're talking about doing right now is we're talking about
So-
doing an early showing. We're talking about convincing these guys to go spend their money elsewhere, go mess with someone else, but don't come here.
What and how do we accomplish that? How is that done?
I think strong tone. I think that vision that Chris just had of having a couple of rabid advocates in the crowd in a room that's packed with hunters, just saying, "We're here, we're here, we're here, we're paying attention." I'm I'm not impacted by this. I'm a bird hunter. Heck, I only hunt elk. I'm an archery elk hunter. That's all I do. This wouldn't affect me, but I'm here to tell you no. I think just showing that we can turn out, showing that we can react, makes it less likely we'll have worse fights later.
So when is this meeting going to take place? When do they
December
have them?
So we
6th,
have
Friday.
so there's a meeting 8 a.m. on this Friday, February 6th. That's the one where people can participate in person here in the Phoenix headquarters or at one of the Game and Fish regional offices. And then there will be another one, right? So you're not going to convince them not to take up this petition. The law and the Game and Fish rules give all of us the ability to petition the commission and have them consider something. As long as it meets this fairly low bar, it has these sort of basic elements that are spelled out in rule, then the commission has to consider it. So when our guys show up on Friday and say, hey, this is a bad idea, and then the commission puts it on the agenda in January, that's not a loss. Like they have to put that on there. But what it does is to say, we're going to show up in January and we're going to tell you, now it's on the agenda. Don't vote no, vote no, vote no.
I had a guy just comment today when I posted something that kind of says, hey, December 6th, be there. Guy said, we need to do offense. Honestly, this is offense right now. This petition has nothing to do with anything right now. They just petitioned, the 25th of November. They just did it 6 days ago. We found out about it. And now we're going to commission saying, hey, we don't like this petition. We know about it. And that's all you got to do is go up there and say, hey, we know about this petition to get rid of this hound hunting. We do not agree with it. We absolutely do not agree with it. And I'm here speaking about, I'm speaking for the Tucson Quail Hunters Club. None of us want that. Just like all those ads came out, or those posts came out that said the commissioners of whatever county don't agree with this. That's a big deal when you get a county to say, no, this is stupid. So if you get Gila County, them saying, no, this is stupid. Or if you get these big clubs, the Bighorn Sheep Society should honestly be there. I'm not going to lie. We'll probably call you out if you don't stand up, because we stand up for everything you do. We all give you money. That Bighorn Sheep Society, they make big money. And I've talked to them guys, and they're not for this. What do lions eat? All their precious sheep. And they love them.
Well, the Bighorn Sheep Society has bounties on lions.
Yeah, here in New Mexico,
in Arizona.
Here in New Mexico,
Arizona too, Brett.
They have paid trappers that work the bighorn sheep ranges, and they remove every lion that gets in the bighorn sheep range.
Yeah,
it's the same in Arizona. They've got lion hunters, hound hunters under contract to kill lions in bighorn sheep areas. That's taking place right now.
They got the Sonoran pronghorn. They're trying to build it up. They dropped 22 of them a couple years ago, and I've heard, or someone wrote it in the sand in the wash, that there's like 7 or 9 of them killed over there by lions. I was there. I seen the lion track that walked around the pen they were keeping them in to breed. I caught that female lion on the north side of where they were.
Some of their good, well-intentioned antics are so stupid.
Well, and I
first cafeteria.
They can't just come out and say this is stupid either. They got to be kind of neutral on it. I get it. The commission can't just say you guys are idiots. Like, this ain't gonna happen. They got to look at it. But that's what we're here to do Friday. So either go. I think you get 2 minutes to speak. Is that what they're down to? Is it 2 or 3? I think it's 2.
Yeah,
and not everybody has to speak.
Yeah,
honestly. And this is coming from Dan Gates. Even Dan's like, listen, you don't need 100 people speaking, but you need a couple semi-intelligent ones in there to say, we're all here. I got 20 guys behind me that came with me, and we're from this club, or we're from Tucson, or we're from whatever. We don't like it, and we're going to be back in January.
That might be a chore, finding some semi-intelligent people.
You see that guy back there, the big redhead? He will thump you. And he knows a guy with a spear. Don't make him come down January, my friend. Do not make him come down January.
I'll be there January.
Hey, I'll be retired. I'll be retired in January. I'll have time.
Me and Benny will go down there.
Nope. Benny's trying to move to Arizona. Benny needs to be here. Bring your land yacht and camp right out at Ben Avery. We'll all go party at Benny's Thursday night.
Yeah, and then I was talking to a guy today about hounds, and and he's flinging the craving on me again. I didn't think I'd ever get the craving, and it's like, damn, I don't need this.
Randy Riggs, absolutely 100%. Can out-of-staters show up and be heard? Absolutely. You can fill out a blue card, and you can say, hey, I'm from New Mexico. I'm from California. I'm from California. I seen what happens there. I would love to get Californians over here and say, you guys see our state? What are you guys, stupid for even taking this petition? Do not do it. Absolutely do not do it. And I'm sure Californians would come over. There might be some there. In every state should come over and say, we're from New Mexico, we're from Colorado, we're from Nevada, we're from Oregon, we're from here, and here. Because that shows a great camaraderie. And if those antis want us to separate, they don't want us to be together. They want that. Okay, we all know the archery deer hunters hate hound hunters because we do run the deers all the way out from Arizona. When I go over here, all the deer go to New Mexico. There's no deer left when I go in there. That's what they believe. But even then, what did that Wayne Preselli say? We're going to take it state by state. It's not just state by state. They're going to take it species by species, by action by action. Oh, muzzle loaders. What they do in New Mexico, guys. Oh, you can't have a scope on a muzzle loader. And then what are they going to do next? Listen, you can't use a compound bow. You're running 400 feet a second. That's not fair chase. Oh, hey, rangefinders, guys. We're not going to use those. They will chip.
Hey, I kind of agree with some of that stuff.
If you want to go, I'll tell you what. You want a good hunter, go primitive. Then you'll see some good hunters. But just like this archery deer OTC in Arizona.
Benny just uses a spear.
Benny, that's all he's used his whole life. That's how he got his wife. He nicked her.
That is, in fact, that is a Saswati marriage spear from Swaziland.
There you go.
So yeah, it's not how I got her, but by God, I can keep her that way.
But if you're naive enough, if you're gullible enough to think they're not going to come after they're done with hounds, just like trapping, and I got yelled at by a trapper who says, you never helped us trappers. Okay, in the 90s, there was no social media. What are we going to do, read in a newspaper? We were out hunting. There was no cell phones. We have the power of social media. We can use social media to do good. That's why you have to not do bad on social media. You need to use it for the power it could be used for. And now we are in contact. We've been Colorado, right? I've been in contact Colorado. When I first heard about this was from a Coloradian. Sent me a text, said, hey, and she did it the day they found it, And another guy, I think Justin was on our show Wednesday. He said he looked up the Sportsman's Caucus, the one that Dan called us stupid for. And he said, I found it on here. Oh, look, I found this too. I don't even know how to find that. I need to learn how to find that so I could tell people how to find that.
Well, we raised a lot of money for Colorado also.
Nope. And you know what? That text this is the exact text. She sent me that media release from the CBD. Is that what it is, right? And
yep.
She said, you guys helped us out. It's our turn to help you out. And Colorado is definitely willing to help us out.
Good.
But now, okay, let's go into the money part of it, Chuck. You guys can raise some money. You guys are C3 and C4. So right now,
we have a pack.
Donations are probably super important for the CPAZ.
Yes.
And you can go there.
Absolutely.
You can go to the Conserve. It's Conserve and Protect
Conserve
AZ, right?
and Protect AZ. conserveandprotectaz.org.
.org.
Yep.
And there is a donate button.
And there's a donate button, and you can choose. You can donate to the C3 if you're looking for the tax exempt. You can donate to the C4 if you want to let us be a little bit more flexible with those funds. You can donate to the PAC and let us be explicitly political with those funds.
Can you explain the PAC?
Yeah, could you explain all that for us?
I don't know the PAC.
So 501c3 tax exempt nonprofit focused on education. Really can't. It's extremely limited in doing anything sort of in the world of lobbying. 501c4 nonprofit, not tax exempt. There is some more disclosure requirements for that one. You can do some lobbying and advocacy, but it's still largely educating people about how wildlife is managed, but falling short of campaigning for a specific issue. In Colorado, they had an issue committee. Here we have PACs. That is the entity that can go print mailers, run ads that says no on 127. That's what you need. You need money in that to run an actual political campaign, getting out the vote, encouraging people to vote a specific way on a specific issue.
So a C3 can't say vote no or yes on a prop. A C4 can say you vote no or yes on a prop. And the
so even the
C3 can
C4 has
only
to be
donate.
very.
Go ahead.
So even the C4 can't be explicitly, can't go out there and explicitly campaign. So if you look at CRWM, they talked about the importance of science-based wildlife management. You never saw CRWM funding ads that say no on 127. That was the issue committee. That's the actual political arm. Wildlife Deserve Better was the actual issue committee up in Colorado. What you saw is CRWM raising money early on, educating the voters, and then you saw the issue committee or the Wildlife Deserve Better doing a lot of late stage fundraising. They were responsible for buying all the ads you saw that says no on 127.
Here's it in a nutshell. If you guys don't want to go out and be the front man, donate to somebody who does. Period. If you want to sit at home and watch it happen, donate to somebody who does. Donate to the AWDA, because I'm going to donate to the CPAZ, who's going to donate to the C4, because they can donate 20% the first $500,000, and then they could take the other 80% and educate, which is super important. And what people got mad at Dan Gates for, and this is personal experience where people tell me, oh, he was running around spending money doing this. Yeah, that was his job, to educate. So if you have to go spend money on a dinner, if you have to go to another city and get a hotel and speak all day and run hours and hours, that's what you have to do. That's what that money's for, is to educate. All those videos, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of dollars, $30,000 just in little ads and videos that were made. It ain't cheap. And if you can't do it and you don't want to do it and you want to go hunting, then throw your money where your mouth is, period. That's the easiest way to make that fight. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Winning elections is not cheap.
And you're not going to do it.
A couple $1 billion go out in the 24 cycle. Ads, consultants, all that. What we're talking about doing is not having Quail Forever run a ballot campaign. We're not talking about National Wild Turkey Federation doing that. We're talking about doing that from people who know how to do it and have done it before. It's a different skill set, right? If you're going to get mad that someone spent a bunch of money at an ad agency, you're in the wrong game. You're not in an election winning game, right? This is not, we're not talking about doing raffles at banquets. We're talking about winning elections. And that's the game we're in.
Yep. That is 100% fact.
And CPAZ has a Facebook page.
Yes. Yep. So we've got, I should know that. Let me look
Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah. So we're definitely on Instagram. We are on.
Missy, I don't have. So all I have on my page right now is a little form. You can sign up so I can get your email, because I'm not 100% set up. I barely got the C3 last week before. I'm building my own website, so I'm not smart. I just got a form up. You can give me your information, and once it gets going, we're going to start doing the members. And we got to still do our board, and I got a few people lined up for my board. I'm trying to get Eddie Corona to jump on there too, but God, that guy has his hands in a lot of pots anyways. I got people lined up, but it's just azwda.com. And then theirs is conserveandprotectaz.org.
We're also that same thing, Conserve and Protect Arizona, Conserve and Protect AZ on Instagram, and Conserve and Protect Arizona on Facebook.
And sharing is super important. Share. If you see something, just share it, because there's people on your Facebook. I mean, I don't know how many friends I got, 2,000 or 3,000 on Facebook. They're not all hunters. But if they listen to Dan Gates talk or someone talk, it's just more education. Well, I heard this, So.
What else? What else can we do?
Pay attention.
We hit on it. I think there's a short-term thing, show up in February or show up on on Friday, show up in January, and those are some longer term things like Chris was talking about. Either stand up and help or donate to those who are.
Mm-hmm.
Take your neighbor hunting. Think about how we talk about this. Let's make people
It's
understand what it is we do.
it'll make you feel better to take a day off of work to go stand there and listen just for a body than it is not to be able to hunt again. Not to be able, because they're coming after hounds. And in Colorado, they came after line hunting. They learned their lesson there. Now they're trying to do a little smaller. Oh, we're just going to come after pack hounds because they harass wildlife and they chase hikers and they're just hellhounds running loose in the world. So they're trying to make, and then once they get rid of that, they'll just start chopping and chopping and chopping until that big tree falls.
Look how they've already divided the dog people. Just in that, what you read earlier, they said this will not include bird dogs. So you guys don't come to the fight. We'll get you afterwards. And when the hound guys are mad at the bird dog guys, then we'll be able to pick you off.
Yep. And you don't think they're going to come after birds next?
Yeah.
You don't know.
They've only divided us if it works, Benny. And I think that's what.
Yeah, that's my point, though.
Getting the bird hunters there behind it, right? Show them you can't. They didn't divide in Colorado. It wasn't just lion hunters who stood up as everyone. I think that's what we want to show them. This isn't just houndsmen who are outraged.
That's my point, though. It's their attempt to divide and conquer, and if we don't allow that, then they don't win.
In Colorado, did they have some big dogs like Steven Ranella and Cameron Haynes and all these guys? Did they have them?
Yeah, they did. I think Hal was helpful in nationalizing the Colorado fight, but yeah, you definitely saw, I think, all that national media. I think Haynes was in on that, the whole Meat Eater thing, Randy Newberg, all the bunch of the people with big followings got a lot of focus on Colorado.
So has anybody, I mean, has anyone approached them for Arizona, this thing yet?
I haven't had conversations with Meat Eater. I did a Howl podcast on Friday that posted Sunday, and Howl's got a pretty good social media thing, so they've been blasting that out. I've got conversations with a couple of big national organizations tomorrow morning about how they may come in. So
that Howl for Wildlife? Is that who that is?
Howl for Wildlife, yeah.
Those guys do pretty good on getting the word out.
They get a pretty good reach.
Yep. And I did ask some people if the National Hound Alliance was coming in. So hopefully this would be a pretty good debut for them to come in. I don't think they've made up their mind yet, but they need to. I'll tell you that. They need to do something now, not later, because we'll call you out.
Who else part of that?
I'll get a shirt made that says that National Hound Alliance is a big sissy. I love making shirts.
Who all's in that National Hound Alliance, Chris?
Chris Powell's running it. I mean, I think he's kind of spearheaded it.
That leaves me out. He doesn't like me.
Nobody likes you, Brett. We only let you on this show because it's your show. They got it. It don't matter. That goes back to the houndsmen and how whiny little girls they are too, because you really got to put that aside and you got to sit in the room with that guy that stomped your track out and drummed the rig on you. You have to the archery deer hunter that is mad because you ran the deer back to Mexico. You really got to put that aside. You can argue later on, but you got to fill that room up and not argue. You just got to hold each other's hands. And when you can go out in the woods and fight again later on, but that's what they want. They want you to fight right there, and they want you guys to look like a bunch of hillbillies and rednecks, and because their emotions, you will not touch their emotions and their feelings. And that's kind of been my slogan lately, where it's emotions. Emotions trying to stomp out traditions. Their feelings and emotions are stomping out thousands of years of traditions because they woke up one day and they love kitty cats. And that's all it's about, is the kitty cats. California, what'd they do in California? They got rid of GPS because they thought, it didn't matter. We're still catching. And then they said you can only have one dog per person during a deer season. I mean, they nickel and dimed it until it was just dang near impossible. And then they said, we're not gonna let hounds run bears no more. 2014, and now they got a population of 60,000 plus.
85
60
plus.
Well, I'm going low.
Well,
it don't matter if they had 40,000. You couldn't
I talked to
control
a
it.
biologist in California that's in the middle of the whole deal, and he said it's over 85,000. He said they won't tell the public that because the public could be swayed that there's been a big mistake. But 65,000 is plenty. They'll never get it back down.
And I have mixed reviews on Chris Powell. Jeremiah, because he's not as good looking and funny as us.
Especially
me.
me.
What are you going to say? Yeah, look, you got Brett. Stand Brett next to Chris. They're always going to pick Brett.
Even after I've been out
together.
chasing those crazy hounds all day.
Yep, we're all in it together. And Chris is always wrong about hounds or about cats. You don't know. Those lions turn their scent off, Chris. So stop it with your nonsense.
New term. They hold their scent.
They hold their scent.
Yeah.
They hold their scent.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got a shirt.
They hold it with us.
I got a shirt that says
They
stop.
got a switch right here. They hold it right here. Switch.
I actually seen one reach under there and turn it off.
Chuck,
Can you guarantee that?
Benny has to
know
guarantee
I've told the story before, but we actually watched one come up, squat down, sneak off, and when the hounds got there, they were just barely pecking at it.
Yep.
It did something.
When you're on
video.
When you're on Houndsman XP podcast, Chuck, I want you to ask Chris Powell. Chris and Brett want to know if it's true. If lions turn their scent off, wait till the end of the show. So if it kicks you off,
Yeah. No, you better just not bring it up, and you best not bring me up either.
I'm gonna send you a shirt to wear on his podcast. On his,
Chris reached out today. I've been trying to get back in touch with him. So I need to.
Yeah,
he'll be a good one to get on with, though.
I'll ask him about the switch.
Yeah, the switch.
Yeah. It's underneath their right arm.
The right arm. If they turn on the left arm, you better run because then they give you that look and they're coming after you.
Y'all really set me up for some credibility on this podcast.
Chris loves us.
One thing for certain,
the bald-faced guy
he'll know where you went
scent
first.
Switches, huh?
Yeah. Well, Chuck, we
he'll know
really
where you
appreciate
went
you
first.
taking some time.
Yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity, and look forward to like Chris act. So as much as I'm asking people to go in on Friday, I'm not going to be there in person. I'm going to go try and kill a deer, but we'll have other folks from Conserve and Protect there for sure. And look forward to working with y'all. I think this is we're going to be doing this for a while, so look forward to seeing what we can do, and
maybe we can organize something to be there in January, Chris.
I'll be there in January. The most important thing is bodies in the room. You guys don't have to speak. And if you do need something to say, we have people, am I right, Mr. Benny, that said they will write you something up and
are you trying to
send it to you.
Insinuating that I shouldn't say anything?
No, but we can give you a script if you will just read.
This is what they told me.
Brett,
this is what they told me to say, but let me tell you what I really think.
My name is Brett Vaughn. I am here to say, I can't do this, guys. Listen, you brainwashed idiots. Don't do this.
Oh, yeah,
we just want you to stand back with your arms crossed.
Hey, you know what? I can probably get that banner for the wall, and me and you and Chris could set up live there in the corner of the commission room, and we can just do a play-by-play.
Do a live podcast right out in the parking lot. Look at Benny's frozen.
Think they'd let us do it?
Probably wouldn't be very popular.
Yeah. We definitely appreciate your input, and we look forward to you to winning, doing everything, and winning this all for us. Chuck.
Yeah, and anytime, I mean, you need something or whatever, this Interview Stories and Tales has a Facebook page. You can, let us know, send me a message, whatever, and we'll sure share it and do whatever we can.
Yeah.
Because like everybody said, or like the title of this is, it's coming to a state near you. So I'm sure that it won't be long until, they outlawed trapping here in New Mexico on public land already. I never even heard about it until it was gone. So I think making the announcements and letting everybody know about it, that's what they did so well in Colorado. Is they made it public, everybody knew, and like you said, there's a lot of power in numbers.
Yeah,
And if you want to help,
that's one thing. That's something we will learn from them, right? We can turn out the numbers. This is not just a houndsman thing. We're all in it. I think y'all's community will play a big role, but so will the rest of us.
Perfect.
show up, people. And if you want to help, reach out to anybody. Reach out, and I'm sure between me, Chuck, Brett, whoever else, will give you something to do. Or if you want to donate, go to the conserveandprotectaz.org, and you can donate there. You got a donate button right on the front page.
Smack in the middle.
Great big one.
We know it works.
Great one.
First thing you see. Well, first thing you see is nice pictures on it. Second thing's give us money. But, we'll put it to good use. No, make sure you get all those links, Chris, and you get to Brett. So
all right.
Got all our
Instagram, we'll start
Facebook,
posting pretty heavy here in the next month or two. So
sounds good.
But again, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate
nice meeting you.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you need anything, holler at us.
Yeah, you want to jump on that link I sent you? That link I sent you?
Yep.
You want to jump on? We're usually on Mondays. Just let me know, and just save that link, and you'll always be able to jump on.
Yeah, I'll save it when you jump in. Just provide updates, and
perfect.
I'm sure if nothing else, we'll come back before that January meeting, give updates. And
there you go.
So
we absolutely have to do that.
If I don't talk to y'all before a month from now, we'll do that.
And I'll stay in touch with you. So if you got anything that needs to just be put out or posted, let me know.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know how that reporter interview goes. Be great to get her out in the field too, Chris. So.
Yeah, definitely let me know because I'll get it set it up with people, everybody that needs to be involved. All right, Chuck.
Sounds cool.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go grab some food. Talk to you later.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
We'll see you. Thank
you, Chuck.
Well, there you have it.
Now we can get done with all that serious talk.
Yeah, that's a lot of serious talk. But this is going to
serious talk. We wouldn't exist.
Oh, I'd still exist. I might not be doing what I want to do, but I'd still exist.
Yep. Well, we're not going 3 hours tonight.
No,
Brett's tired. Brett had a rough weekend.
I am worn smooth out.
He had his grandkids out, and they wore him out.
I had my and then I trailed up the side of the roughest mountain over here today. So, and I'm feeling my age.
Ibuprofen and then wake up good.
Come on now. Just show one of Brett's videos at the commission on Friday the Antes. We'll see the Lions have nothing to worry about.
Michael Hanlon, where are you from? Better not be California.
I always pull them off before they catch it because I don't want any bad video or anything.
It's ethical. It's ethical hunting for social media. Ethical social medianism.
Making my audience broader.
Yep.
And trying to appease the YouTube gods to some extent.
Yep.
Now, Brett, when you first started your videos and you were driving along or you were riding along, you would ride back and forth between the main road and your camp, right? With your dogs and your mule. And
I went all over
those days. Yeah. But I mean, that was one of your exercise routes.
Yeah, I just rode them down that road.
And so back in those days, didn't you get comments from people that they said, well, we've never seen anybody that showed us that you didn't always have to catch a lion or something along those lines because I
think that what most people don't understand, I mean, and it's all in the style of hunting you like, what you want to do and where you want to hunt, where you're hunting at. I mean, there was guys, really, really good lion hunter came into that country I was in where my camp was, and they had a female lion that was killing calves on a ranch down below us, and he hunted 27 days, something like that, and finally got that lion caught. And he told the rancher, he said, don't call me again. He said, there's easier places to catch lions than this. And you've been up there. I mean, it's just rough and nasty. There's no roads. The trails are not even beat out. You anytime you go anywhere, you're busting brush and climbing steep mountains and everything. But it was better conditions up there for trailing than I got down here. Down here, the condition, there's nobody hunts down here. Nobody lion hunts down here that I know of. And I'm not going to blow my own horn, but I think in the last 10 years, there's been 8 lions caught in this unit. And I think I've caught 6 of them. So I like to watch dogs work hard and trail. I mean, and I like to sit on my mule and make big circles. And it's not the most successful way to catch lions.
There's something, everybody, the lion's mystical. Jared Fisher's always on me. Get out of that country. Oh, don't take that reporter to that country. Oh, don't. That's my country. That's what I like to hunt. It's tough country, but to me, I don't know why. I'm just drawn to the desert in the winter. I don't like the desert in the summer. I hate its guts. Yeah. I'm a fair weather desert hunter. I'm going to tell you that. But when it starts cooling off and I don't think people understand it. A lot of guys get into dogs because they followed somebody behind some snow or they went some bear hunting. But you'll notice anybody that's went on a good dry ground lion hunt, it's probably the most satisfying feeling you can have. Just like that video I'm working on right now, and we showed a clip of last time, the dog just I went a long ways, rode a road, did back and forth, and then they got over in a bowl, and they just took off trailing up a hill. And I knew I wasn't going to catch that lion. I hoped I catch that lion, but I knew that was horrible country on the hill. It's not a big one, but I knew once it went up and over and dropped down in that sand and got in that stupid-ass crappy greasewood.
That's terrible,
And the biologist just told me, you're stupid. You're not going to catch it in there. And that's the only reason, thank you, Mr. Biologist, that I keep hunting it. Because now I'm going to catch it so I can send him a pin and a picture and say, I did catch it because you told me I couldn't. But it's just satisfying. It's just a very satisfying feeling to watch your dogs really work. And they have to work and you have to work, and you have to ride that minimum 8-mile circle up to 15-mile circle.
15-mile circles. 15 is that's just what I heard. That's what Henry McIntyre told me. Mm-hmm. He said, he was like, I asked him something, how he hunted or whatever. And he said, I put good dogs on the ground and I ride 15-mile circles. But he was doing it every day. And then I talked to Steve Smith one time, long time ago, and he didn't know. I just called him out of the blue. And he asked me, he said, how do you hunt? And I said, well, I dry ground lion hunt. And he said, well, you're not dry ground lion hunting unless you're hunting, unless you're riding 15-mile circles in lower than 6,500 feet elevation. So I said, oh, I'll have to check my GPS and see what the elevation is. So I'll make sure when they go over that 6,500 feet, I'll turn around.
Well, and I don't know that I ever hunted for decades. I didn't hunt for years and years. I didn't hunt probably above 3,000, about 2,500.
Yeah, and I think
true enough.
And now I've never hunted the Sonoran Desert, but I know this Chihuahuan Desert is terrible. I mean, it's I think it's a lot drier conditions, and then we got that stinking greasewood, and the greasewood's just. But also, I'll say that, I mean, we have some rock here that will hold scent for a long time. I mean, it really will. But we have inconsistent trailing conditions where you might have good, a lion walks down that ridge or up that hill, and he's in that good rock, you can really trail him. But then he cuts across that flat or even on those tops sometimes where that greasewood grows and everything. And it turns into a guessing game. And after this many years, I've learned that I'm not a very good guesser. I've heard of guys, like they said Orville Fletcher, man, he could just look at the country and tell you where a lion was going.
Larry Hendricks could look at a rock pile and climb up in it and locate the lion.
And find it, yeah. And I've heard that about a lot of guys say, well, shoot, he's the best dog he's got.
What's their consistency of hunting? Quite a bit. Not like mine. If I won that
yeah.
Powerball, I'd be a hell of a lion hunter. I'll tell you that.
And those guys, and they get up in the morning. That's what they do. They go lion hunting, and that's
what they do for a job. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
It
Hendricks
makes a big
told me a
difference.
long time ago. He said, "So quit your job and take your dogs out 6 days a week and make dogs."
Yeah, exactly. That's what's hard to do for most of us because we have a certain lifestyle that we live, and we don't want to cut that out. I had plans, when I bought that property up in the mountains. My business was running pretty good on its own. I had a couple guys working for me, and I had a lady that was running the office, and I thought, man, I got it made. Then the lady quit, and one of the guys quit, and things just fell apart.
Had to put your bags back on.
Had to go back to work, and then I sold the business, and I thought, wow, now I'm going to have a bunch of time, and I got sick.
Yep.
So that kind of ruins that.
Life.
Life gets in the way.
Get out and hunt while you can, people. Every chance you get, because when you get older, I'm only 49, but I feel it just as much, But get out. Get out as much. If you're a bird hunter, if you're a fisher, it don't matter. Just get out. Get as much as you can.
That's matter of fact, the video that I filmed today. I went up there to check that camera, but I got an email from a subscriber, from a follower on my Born 100 Years Too Late, and he's watched my videos since day one, I believe, and he was telling me in my last video I filmed myself. I fell down. And I was way out there in the middle of nowhere, and I fell down and everything. And he kind of lectured me a little bit about getting older and how I got to be more careful, and that,
break a hip.
I should think about taking somebody with me and this and that. And gosh darn, and until this, I never really felt too old until this year, and I started feeling it a little bit, and so that's the video that I'm working on now. I kind of address that, and it's like the Toby Keith song, "Don't Let the Old Man In." How do you go about not letting the old man in? What do you do? How do you not let him in? What? Don't shake your head, no, Benny, because I know how you do it now. You watch.
Yeah.
You watch.
With
your forearms folded over your belly. You watch.
Yeah, I got a question for you guys.
I was doing a good job, Brett, right up until I took 5.5 months off for COVID.
Yep.
Yeah, that was me. I've been in. I don't talk about it, but I was in the hospital 4 times this year. They did another ablation on my heart this year. Besides that,
He didn't like sitting around. Brett does not like sitting around.
So I got a plan. I got a plan of what I'm going to do. So you'll see. Watch my next video and you'll see.
Get it done. Get it done.
All right.
I got an ethical hound question I was asked by Wayne Bisbee. Called me last night. He said he sold a pup to a guy. The guy don't want the pup now. It's not doing nothing. Pup's 4 months old.
Jeez.
Should he just tell the guy F off, or should he just take the pup back? Me, I'm like, it's 4 months old. If you want to give him his money back, go ahead. But
can you talk to him and say, hey,
what do you expect the dog to do?
Say,
what would you guys do?
I'd take the pup back. I mean, that's just what I would do.
Mm-hmm. Would you give him his money back?
Oh, yeah, I'd give him money back and I'd resell the pup.
Yeah. That's kind of what I told him. Get the pup back. And I said, does he want money back, or does he just don't want the pup? It's just not working out, is what he said. And I'm like, what is not working out? He's 4 months old.
Yeah, but everybody has a different idea of what working out is, and everybody goes about it differently too. I gave a pup Brett the same cross that Jazz was. I made that cross 3 times, and I only know of one pup that didn't make it, and I gave it to this guy that he never did want to get any dogs from anywhere but Oklahoma. And I guess he took this pup and gave it to his girlfriend in Oklahoma for her to keep it till it got a certain age. Who knows what she did with it. And then he called me up and he says, hey, this dog's not doing what I think it should do. You want it back? I said, no. Well, why not? I said, what do I know? How do I know what you did with it? What the hell do I want with it?
That's true too. Yeah.
He says, so what should I do with it? I said, give a damn what you do with it. It's your dog.
Yep.
Huh. Well, what do you expect? You know? What the hell do you expect?
Well, what do you expect from a 4-month-old? It wasn't a 1.5-year-old. He said did truck the tree or whatever. It's just a 4-month-old pup. He's still a puppy. He's 4 months old. Like some dogs don't figure it out till they're 8 months old or a 1.5 years old or sometimes
2 years
3 years old. Yeah.
Dry ground lion hounds don't really. I mean, you give them till they're 2 years old at least. And I've given them a lot longer than that. Even old Fat Lori, somebody talked about her. She'll bark and trail a lion. She ain't going to catch you a lion, but she'll bark and trail a lion. And I have to help her out of the dog box.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that there's too many people that don't do things the way I do things, and therefore, in my view,
thank goodness.
Well, that's what my wife says too. But in my view, they don't give the dog the correct opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. If you're showing that dog a bunch of lion tracks and you're showing him some treed lions and stuff, not at 4 months old, but even, a 2-year-old dog or whatever, and you're in a good area, yeah, maybe you should cut your losses.
Yep.
But who knows,
I just told him, and I said, and for the record, you never get another pup. I don't give a damn what you think. So we left it at that too.
Yeah.
But 4 months.
Because out of
you, he said, but 4 months you can salvage it. Not too much damage done, which is probably correct. It's just a puppy. How much did you really run that puppy in the last few weeks?
If they didn't do some kind of psychological damage to the dog too.
Oh, shock the hell out of it, kick it, beat it, something like.
Yeah,
the dog.
Anything's possible.
And we're taking up a collection for Benny's camera. If anybody wants to throw in on a razor.
I've got one here. I should send him because I don't even use it anymore. Here.
Oh, yeah. You don't even use the razor no more, do you?
No, I just hook up my Osmo.
Yep.
I should send this to Benny.
I love my razor. Don't ever try GoPro, people. It's a pain in the butt. I tried it.
I'm the one who recommended the razor to you, wasn't I?
Yep. You said, get a razor, dummy. Brainwashed idiot. And I said, okay.
Brainwashed idiots. I'm surrounded by them. My two
guys.
My two dogs they were pups that I had when I got hounds again. They knew their name. They knew to come here. I hadn't taught them anything. I let them run with my son's beagles. They would go run rabbits all day long. And at night I'd call them, chain them up, feed them. In the morning I'd turn them loose and let them run rabbits. And that's the extent of them at 6 months old. And I sent them to Arizona, and those guys took them at 6 months old and made dogs out of them. And they hadn't had anything done with them.
Have you ever had much experience with crossing beagle into your lion hounds, Benny?
No, I never did do any of that, Brett.
I've heard it works good.
Tony really is wanting to do that. I talked to Tony the other day for 45 minutes. He called me. The only thing outside of hounds that I ever had crossed in, just a regular hound, was my Derek dog had 1/8 bloodhound. That Mike Pock down there at New River, Arizona, ran an 1/8 bloodhound in all of his dogs.
How were they?
That was Mike Pock. He was just a guy in New River, Arizona that had hounds, that had lion dogs. And they were 1/8 bloodhound.
Were you around them? What were they like?
Well, I had one. That's all I knew about them. That Derek dog of mine was the dog. I had two other pups from him, but they both died in a terrible, sad situation here at the house. And so my brother had two dogs, and his mules stomped one of those pups, and he said, "Hey, come get this other pup." And so that's where Derek came from.
Yep.
You remember Derek? He was that high tan dog.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys.
What do you think?
I think it's 2 hours. I think I gotta download it, put it on. I want to get this on W this week, so everybody kind of has a little idea what's going on Friday. So anybody listening and is close to Arizona or wants to make a drive and wants to buy his lunch, go to the Game and Fish office in at the Ben Avery shooting range. That's the best way to describe it.
Edit
The
out
main office.
my stupid idiot comment about the HSUS guy.
Well, I was gonna dub it and replay it like 3 times.
Make it into a short. I don't care.
That's gonna be the intro.
I just being honest. I would have a hard time. I think what bothered me was you saying you were going to buy him lunch or something like that.
I'm always interested in why people think
they're idiots. There's no.
You got to
see how old are. See, that's what happens when you're my age. You learn they're just idiots.
I'm one of them guys that date troubled women. Think I can fix them, but there's always an opportunity to talk with those people, and I'll take it. If there's an opportunity, I will take it. Whether he tells me to F off or whatever, that's just going to show his character. You know, for him to sit down, if he was brave enough to stay there, that's how I knew we were going to win that. Because that guy wasn't even. If I was him, I would come over and say, "Hey, guy." I don't know. Some people, I grew up fighting 2 or 3 people at a time. Like I don't know. I guess I like the drama sometimes, and I was told not to do that interview with the Channel 12 News, and they're going to hang you. But are you going to do it? No, he's going to do it. I passed it off to Chuck. He's probably a little bit more educated, and he's already been through it. I'm not as bad as Brett Vaughn and get crazy, but
I don't get crazy. See, you say that. I just don't have any
irritated.
I don't have any patience. Excuse me, any patience. I just don't for that. And I'm not. I just ignore it and just. I guess I'm too old, and and honestly, I'm not big on politics and stuff like that. I have a hard time with it. I really do.
It's tough. Politics is tough. And you have to have the patience to deal with politics. Yeah. And that's why I am super glad. Yes, it's in Phoenix, Missy, if you're asking me. But I'm super glad. I mean, I am thankful that these guys are stepping up for this. And they can throw the rocks, and I will sit back in the shadows, and I'll stack those rocks. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel I'm educated enough, and I don't know the proper lingo.
That would be my problem, exactly.
The language. To sound intelligent or educated. Do I know? Yes, I know what's going on out here. I can tell another hunter what's going on, my opinion on it. I've never said I'm an expert at anything, and those guys, they do appear as idiots, and they don't know no better. That's all. Maybe they were raised that way.
Well, you say that they don't know no better, and they don't want to know no better.
That's the key word. They don't want to learn.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not open to hear.
That's what makes me different.
They're not open.
I want to learn.
There's no. I don't want to listen to anybody that's so ignorant. It's just like you were talking about. We'll get into politics a little bit here. That's like you said something about how would anybody vote for Kamala Harris? Well, how many people just wouldn't even search and try to find out the truth about things? How about listening to Joe Rogan when he interviewed Trump? I mean, just sitting there freestyle, just letting Trump, and she wouldn't even go on and answer questions. Everything was protected. I mean, and that's their mindset. They think they can just bullshit everybody.
No, that's a fact.
Brett, if you was to take him to lunch and you couldn't get through to him talking civil, you could always at the end of lunch hit him in the side of the head with your water glass.
Have I done that before?
Well, no, I'm just giving you options.
Don't remember.
trying to think. No, I mean, I just don't have. I wouldn't. I just don't. I mean, if he came up to me and he was legitimately said, "Hey, so this is what I believe and everything," and he was open to it, and he said, "I'd like to hear your side of the story. How come you believe the way you do?" I could sit down and have a conversation with a man like that and tell him my side and why I believe the way I do. But they're not like that. They're not. I'm just telling you, they don't want to hear nothing else.
No, you're right.
They're not like you, Chris.
Easy going, charming, what? Good looking.
Man, you're going off now.
Beard.
It's getting deep.
I can edit it out.
Yeah, and
it's just they don't want to know. They want to tell others what. No, they don't want to tell others. They want to make others do. They want to take away.
They want to force
They want to
them.
use their emotions to destroy people's traditions. And I'm only a first generation houndsman. I got into it myself, but there's people 8, 9, 10 generations. You're suck. It's like me going and you saying you can't be a Christian. You got to be a Muslim. Or you got to the Muslims or the Jews had a religion before you guys came in, or you got to be pagan. You got to be pagan. Because they were here before the Christians. So you can't be Christian no more because I don't think you should. It hurts my feelings. Matter of fact, I don't like Jesus. I don't like how they persecuted him on the cross, and you Christians are mean. That's all they're doing. That's what they're doing to us, and they feel.
Or if you're,
they don't rationalize. They feel that, and they feel that you should feel that too.
Or if you're born with testicles and a penis, but they say, no, you're going to refer to me as a woman. Yeah, right.
Listen, let's leave Benny out of this. Okay? You don't have to bring that stuff up. That's a secret we were told not to talk about. It's crazy, and this world's crazy, and I believe sooner or later it's going to they go through this stupid stuff, and you have to revert back. But I also think you have to educate people, whether they listen or not. You have to educate people best you can.
The people that need to be reached are the people that are in between, that don't know any different. They're busy, living their lives. They're going to work. They're taking care of their kids. They're going to the ball games on the weekend. They don't know anything about it. And they're the ones that need to be reached because they're the majority anyway.
You want to make this world a better place. Take those millions and millions of dollars that Humane Society United States, which is changing their name, by the way, next year, I believe, if I read that right, to some other stupid name. But take that money, millions of dollars, and how about you fight pedophiles and sex trafficking and make a big difference in the world? How about you don't worry about the management, science-based management of animals that's been around for the last, 80 years? The century, because they started all this back in the 1900s when everything was being killed, and they realized, hey, we can't just go out and kill as many bears. We can't be, Daniel Boone and kill 100 bears in 30 days.
Speaking of that, do they have any biologists on their side? I'm sure they do.
I know the one biologist someone busted out on one of the sites was talking stuff was a butterfly biologist talking about lions. Come on, guys. It's like saying having an electrician come in and do your plumbing. It's silly stuff. It's really silly stuff. But you can watch Fox News and you can watch CNN, and you might get 10% between the both of them of the truth. And I don't like to claim Republic. I don't like to claim Democrat. I'm an American that likes to do what I want to do, and if it's legal, leave me alone. Don't try to make it illegal because you don't like it.
I'm a libertarian. Because when was it I got mad at the Republicans? It's been quite a few years ago.
When they killed JFK?
No, I wasn't. I'm not that old.
I'm just kidding, guys.
What is it? If it doesn't break my bones and it doesn't come out of my pocket, I really don't care what you do. Anyway, what do you think, guys?
I think we'll call it. I think the smart guy already left the conversation.
Yeah, we kind of deteriorated after he left. It's like kept my mouth shut while he was talking.
So for podcast reasons, go to conserveandprotectaz.org. And just like Colorado, they're going to need money to fight this. And if you don't want to get off your ass and go help, send them some money, guys. And they're not going to go blow it on Taco Bell talking to a little 20-year-old representative of Humane Society of the United States. They're gonna stick to their guns. I'm gonna tell you right now, there are meetings set up with Colorado. Colorado's helping us out. So if you're an anti-hunter watching this, we're not alone. We have numerous amount of states that are gonna step in on this.
We have friends.
And we're gonna spank you like little babies you are, and you can go back crying to mama. I think we need to get off of this now before we rabbit hole into something stupid.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Benny,
good
thanks.
Night.
Thanks for coming by.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Chris, as always,
hasta luego.
I'll talk to you later. All right,
Sounds
guys.
good.